Hello and welcome to my channel Duckpotatoe's World. This is my monthly video knitting podcast created to create for the month of December 2023. And I have so much stuff to tell you about. I feel like it has been forever since we talked. So welcome if you are new. If you are returning, welcome back. Grab your knitting, grab your drink or whatever you like to do while you listen to knitting podcasts, and get ready. We got a whole bunch of stuff to look at today. So let's see. For starters, I have finished quite a few things I'm very, very happy about. The first thing I finished was a pattern that my husband found on Etsy and sent to me and was like, hey, can you make this? So I looked at it and it was like a really big gauge, like 7 stitches and 3 inches, which I don't usually knit such chunky yarn. And so I looked at the pattern and it said worsted weight, and I thought, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, it was 3 strands of worsted weight held together. So I thought, before we go buy miles of worsted weight yarn to do this, maybe I should try it out. So I did. And this is the Tahoe Hooded Cowl by Nutty Patterns on Etsy. And I made it just out of some worsted weight yarn I had just lying around. Of course, it gets caught in your glasses. And yeah, it is super warm. It comes up on you like this. And I guess you need all that thick yarn to keep it up and like on you. So it took me only about 2 days. It took me about 2 days to knit this. I wonder if you could heard all that talking with this thing over my mouth. And it was way fun. But I actually had to hold 4 strands of worsted yarn together to make gauge. So it used a lot of yarn. I think I used 380 yards of the blue and the gold. And I don't know how much of that white, because I held 1 strand of blue, 1 strand of gold, and 2 strands of white in order to get gauge. So I gave this one to my son, and I have ordered yarn to make one for my husband and one for myself, and we shall see how it goes. I'm hoping I ordered enough yarn, but if not, we'll figure something out. So that was the first thing I finished. Like I said, it took me 2 days to knit. It was a really fast knit. It was fun. The pattern was easy to follow. And my son walks around the house wearing it all the time. I don't know why. This is East Texas. It rarely gets below 30, maybe 20 every now and then out here. And definitely not that cold in my house. So I don't know why he's wearing it all the time, but he loves it, which makes me feel good. So there's that. And then I finished the Christmas present that I've been working on, the ribbon weave shawl. And while I was in Hot Springs a couple weekends ago, I got these beautiful brass buttons or metal buttons. I don't know what they're made out of. But yeah, I finished that shawl, so it is ready to get put under the tree. I don't know when you guys decorate, but we usually decorate on Black Friday because there is nothing I want bad enough to go shopping on Black Friday to get. If I have to leave my house for it, it ain't happening. So we have always done our Christmas decorating on Black Friday instead. So my tree is up, my house is decorated, and all I need to do is wrap my present and put it under the tree. And its recipient will be able to get it. Then I did visit Hot Springs Fiber Company 2 weeks ago, something like that. And I didn't do a whole lot of shopping because if you have been watching, you know my birthday was coming up. And my husband had planned a big weekend in Dallas with a private birthday yarn crawl just for me, where we were going to hit like 5 shops. So I was in Hot Springs, but I tried to be really good and not buy a whole lot of yarn, and I didn't. But with all that beautiful yarn constantly around, you know I had to knit something out of it. So I knit a shop sample while I was there, and I'll put a picture of one of the mitts. I knit both of them, but I didn't take a picture of the other one, which I don't know why. But they are in Hot Springs Fiber Co. if you want to see them. I knit these out of Ella Rae Cozy Alpaca. Now the pattern, I'm not sure how to say this. K and then the A and the E are like the same letter. RLIG by Yosolda Teague. I don't know how to say her name either. I'll put it all up here, and if I'm butchering it, I'm really sorry. But it's a really fun pattern. It is a really unique mitt construction. So I knit it, and I did actually knit it in a worsted weight yarn, even though the pattern calls for fingering weight. So I think I used the toddler size, or maybe it was the child size. I used the second smallest size to get a worsted weight yarn and 7 needles, and I think I did 1 mitt on 7s and 1 on 6s. And I got mitts that fit me really well. So that was fun. I actually have plans to make those again for myself, because that pair stayed in Arkansas. But that was really fun. And then I finished one more thing. I know I don't hardly ever have that many finished objects, but I'm really excited about this other finished object, which is the hat I was working on to match my Bead Biz mitts. So I am so happy with this hat. I wore it when we went to the Forbidden Forest experience in Dallas. It is wonderful. I love it. I'm so thrilled with it. I've had lots of people ask me about it. And so I did write up a pattern. It is almost finished. I'm actually going to knit a second hat off of my pattern to make sure that it makes sense. And I like the way it's written and everything. And then I'm going to be looking for test knitters, because I plan to put this pattern out. So if this is something you would be interested in test knitting, you should email me at the channel email. I should have it ready to go in a couple of weeks. I'm only going to be looking for maybe a dozen test knitters or so, and I have a few lined up already. But if you're interested in doing that, that will be available. I'm really happy with how they came out matching my mitts. I think they look really good. Very happy. And my tassel, it just makes it. The tassel just makes the whole thing. This hat is called Happy and You Gnome It, because I just thought the shape made me think of a gnome. I mean, I was kind of channeling like a wizard hat idea, but I don't know, made me feel gnomey. So yeah, that's my Happy and You Gnome It hat, my first pattern design. And there'll be more about that, I'm sure, coming up. But yeah, I'm really happy with that too. And that was everything that I finished. But of course, if I finished all that stuff, you know I started some new stuff too. So the first thing I started was I did knit a pair of socks on my circular sock machine. And I put the video of me knitting the socks up on YouTube. So I think it's called About Time for Another Sock Video or something like that. But this is the Sock Club, Hot Springs Fiber Club Company Sock of the Month Club box in the colorway Brackish. And I knit contrast toes. I just used solid color for the heels. And I left off the cuff. Like there's just a little bit of waist yarn up here. And I did do both of them, but I left off the cuff because, well, this one's wrong side out. I'm not really sure why this one's wrong side out. But I left the cuff off because I plan to film a video showing people how I do 2 at a time socks, because that's a question I get asked all the time. People see me doing my socks 2 at a time and they want to know what I'm knitting. They almost always think if I am toe up, they think it's a bikini or a bra. And if I'm doing it cuff down, they just are confused. They can't figure out what it could possibly be. And then when I try to explain to them that they're 2 different socks, they just look at me blankly. So I thought I would do a video showing how to pick up for the cuffs and knit. I'll knit the cuffs 2 at a time on 2 circs and show that on my channel. So I'm working on that. And then I'm working on my ultimate layer sock, which is another Hot Springs Fiber Company Sock of the Month Club, because yes, I am that far behind. And I think, oh yeah, I had it at church tonight. I was knitting before choir. So I have a little more than halfway on the first sock done. So this is, I'm not sure if this is where I was last time I podcasted, or if the banana is where I was. I think I was just here. I think I had just started them last month. So I think I've knit the whole leg and the heel and about a little more than half of the foot. I'm not sure why this one's up here, but this is the pattern with the fold over cuff. That is so cool. So when you wear the sock, the cuff will come down like this and you'll put it on your foot like that. So hopefully it's in focus for you. But yeah, I've made a lot of progress on that. I know that this stitch marker is just counting where, like, how many foot rows I've done so I can make sure the second sock is the same size, because I have a problem with that. I think this popcorn stitch marker must be where I was last time I podcast. So we're going to go ahead and move that on up this time since we're here. I won't have to remember to do it later. There we go. But yeah, this is my ultimate layer sock. I get so many compliments every time people see me knitting this. They think it is a really fun pattern. And I am enjoying that. It is definitely my small little to-go pattern that I've been carrying around in my purse. I am not working on my Knit Bits shawl. I did 0 blocks this month. It's gone back into hibernation. I am too busy knitting blanket of knowledge blankets to worry about a scrap blanket right now. But I do have a blanket of knowledge blanket to show you. I don't have the December anything. I don't have the December yarn. I don't have the December pattern. It's too early. And I showed you my finished November block for the Cabin in the Woods version last month, but I hadn't started my Enchanted Forest version. So I can show you. I haven't finished November yet, but I'm on my way. I have done 1 pattern repeat. My goal is 3 pattern repeats. I did go ahead and buy an extra ball of this yarn while I was in Hot Springs a couple weeks ago, because I don't think I can get 3 pattern repeats out of 1 ball, and I really love this leafy pattern, and I wanted it to go on for a while. So I still need to do 2 more leafy repeats, and I still need to do the dividing sash. So that's okay. If I sit down and work on it the next couple of days, I'll get it out pretty quick. Hopefully, my plan is to get it done at least before the December stuff comes in, because I don't like to be behind. But that's my blanket of knowledge. It is coming along. I'm still enjoying that a lot, but it's just a lot of blanket knitting to have 2 blankets of knowledge going at the same time. It takes some time. And then I don't normally have huge acquisition sections. I mean, I usually acquire something because I like yarn and people like me and yarn likes me, and I don't know, it just happens. But this time I have a lot acquired to show you, and I'm very excited about all of it. So first of all, I don't think I showed these last month, but my husband made these for me last month. They are old knitting needles that the tips were all scraped and the paint was coming off and they were catching on the yarn, and I was going to throw them away. And he had the idea to make them into bracelets. I've been wearing these. These are a lot of fun. He did his own video on the channel that shows how he did this. I didn't know what he did. Apparently he just like went in the garage and bent them with his hands. I was like, oh, I thought for sure he like used a tool or something, but apparently not. Apparently it just takes some determination and a can to wrap it around. But I don't remember if I showed those last month or not, so I wanted to show them this month. And then I had a really sweet friend at my church who made me a yarn bowl. So she's a art major at one of the local colleges. I don't know if I can say her name, but hi, you know who you are. I love my yarn bowl. I think it's beautiful. I asked her what the little symbol on the yarn bowl was, and she said it was a abstract face, but the lips fell off. I said, oh, that sounds about right. It's a subliminal message that I talk too much and maybe my lips should fall off. But it's beautiful. I enjoy it, and I have been using it quite a lot, actually. It sits up on my desk and holds my yarn. I also ordered this book from, I don't remember what bookstore, some bookstore that was going to be having signings in Rhinebeck. So one of the authors, Sarah Walworth, I took a sweater class from her on custom knit sweaters several years ago. I really enjoyed the class, and when I heard she had contributed to this book, I wanted to buy it. And it turns out it was very opportune because I am learning so much from this book while I am writing my first pattern. So hopefully my first pattern will be well put together and easy to use and a thing of beauty and joy forever, all thanks to this book. Now, I did acquire a few little bits of yarn when I was in Hot Springs. I told you I bought a second blanket of knowledge ball of yarn. I also, the hat that I knit my design, Happy and You Know It. That yarn I had bought from her, but I hadn't paid for, so I paid for my bill. I paid my bill, bought that yarn technically. And then I also needed a few unicorn tails. So those little socks of my husband's, he has big feet, and I have enough yarn to do the toes, and I can do the cuffs if I do them on the machine, but when I do ribbed cuffs by hand, I don't have enough yarn. So I bought another ball of that so I can do his cuffs. And the orange heel that was on my Ultimate Layer sock, I bought that one because that sock box didn't come with a mini skein, and I like to have contrast heels, toes, and cuffs, or at least heels and toes, or toes and cuffs, or something. I like to have the contrast in there, so I bought that. And while I was buying up all the mini skeins, I had Tracy hand dye two. I only have one with me, but I had two of them. I don't know if you can see the sparkle. This is the Seriously Sparkle sock base, and just it's 20 gram mini skein. And this colorway she custom dyed for me, and I like to call it, it's called a solar system, because I needed this to go with my batad that I'm going to knit out of the Destination Yarns solar system set. As far as I can tell, Destination Yarns doesn't make the sun. They have all the planets. They have that black noir, or noir, how do you say that word? That's sparkly, that's like outer space, but they didn't have the sun. So I ordered this and had Tracy make me a sun. Whoops, which I've now unwound. Oh dear, I'll have to put it back in it. I've actually got the second hank of these is already in a cake and sitting in a bag with all the other stuff for this project that maybe I'll start in the near future. I don't know. I have so many things I want to start. And you guys, I know back in January, this was going to be the year where I knit the things in my queue, and my queue was going to get smaller, and I'm just telling you, that didn't happen. It just didn't happen. My queue is no smaller. It is probably bigger. It's definitely bigger. There's no probably about it. I don't know. I think it was like 32 to start with, and I probably have like 36 things in my queue. Now, granted, I did actually knit some things out of that queue, like that ribbon weave shawl. That was in my queue. There were a couple of others. But, you know, it's one of those weird things. Like, I'm really excited to start something, but if there's a delay in getting it started, like I have to wait for the yarn to be dyed because I want something that I don't have, or for whatever reason the delay is, and then something new comes along and I totally squirrel, and then I want to cast that on, and I still want to do the first thing, it gets set aside. And somehow that setting aside just sort of grows really fast. And so all of the things in my queue I still want to knit. I still plan to knit. I just don't know when I'm going to get to it. Someday I'll get to it, right? It'll be okay. But anyway, I had that dyed, and then while we were dyeing that, Tracy dyed along with it this for me. This she just gave me to play with. So her Foggy Northern Lights base, which is absolutely to die for. It is a silk and nylon and mohair sparkly base. Well, this is just the Northern Lights without the foggy. So it's the silk and the sparkle. And again, I don't know that it's sparkling on camera. In real life, it sparkles quite a lot. It's more subtle than the sparkle in the sock, but yeah, these two yarns were dyed in the same bin, and at the same time you could just see how differently the silk takes the dye compared to the wool. And let's see, I bought some other buttons while I was there, but I was pretty good. I mean, I was in Arkansas for 4 days, and that's all the yarn I came home from Hot Springs Fiber Company. Now, she's since had a Black Friday sale, and I don't want to talk about what might be coming my way from that. I'll show that in the January video, because it's not here yet for the December video, so it doesn't count for this month, right? That sounds good to me. We're not going to count it. Hey, future editing Katie here. I have one more acquisition I forgot to talk about, and I want to show you. So I also bought 2 cones of this active yarn, and I got it from 3 Rivers March Hair. I bought it online. I usually get that kind of yarn from CSM Supplies, but they were out of all the Christmas colorways. But I found this at 3 Rivers March Hair, and actually, because I have men and they all have big feet, I got 2. And I will be making Christmas socks for my family out of that. So just wanted to throw that in there. I was really impressed with the customer service of Three Rivers March Hare. I actually got a refund on my shipping because apparently my shipping cost less than I had paid. And she didn't have to do that. Like, I would have never known the difference. So I'm very happy with my yarn. This is the colorway Elf. And I will make family socks on the sock machine for Christmas with that eventually. When I'm doing everything else I'm doing. But yeah, just wanted to just show that off real quick and make sure I mentioned that shop. You guys should check her out. I was real happy with her stuff. Because I had my birthday. And I love birthdays. Birthdays are so much fun. I mean, what's not to love? You get to eat cake and everybody spoils you. But most of the time, my birthday is not that big a deal. I mean, my family gives me cake, they give me a present, and I have fun with it. But this year was a big deal. My husband made a very big deal out of my birthday. He planned this huge outing. We went to Little Elm in Texas, where the Harry Potter Forbidden Forest experience was, and he took me to 5 yarn stores, and he bought me a birthday present at every single store. I'm not even kidding. Well, actually, I think technically at 2 stores, my mom and my mother-in-law bought the present because they had sent me money for my birthday. Oh my gosh, I need to show you what else they sent me for my birthday. I think it might be in the cabinet. Hold on, I gotta go get it. Okay, so my mother-in-law got this for all of her kids for their birthdays the last year or 2. It's a coffee mug that says, made in the 80s. And it says, almost made you a mixtape, but you got this mug instead. I thought that was funny. And then I guess the mothers were like vibing on the same wavelength, because my mother-in-law gave me that. And then my mom, I guess I got coffee on that side and I got water on this side. She gave me this one that says, I don't hoard yarn. I shop faster than I knit. And then it's got me hiding behind a very big pile of yarn. I love this. I've been drinking water out of this all weekend. I actually haven't used my Made in the 80s mug yet because I haven't had anything hot, but I will use it as soon as I have something hot to drink. But anyway, both of these cups had yarn money stuck in them, so I bought yarn. We had the most fun at the Harry Potter event. We got butterbeer, and we got it in these really cute little butterbeer steins. And I didn't shop a whole lot at the Harry Potter event. I'll put some pictures of my husband and I. We had access to a sorting hat. It's not ours. I did not make it. We borrowed it, though, for the event. And my husband stole the show with the sorting hat all night long. And then, of course, I had my Ravenclaw hat. And I had my Ravenclaw earrings on. And I had my Ravenclaw mittens that I made for myself. And my sweatshirt had a Ravenclaw emblem on the back. So I was representing. My husband will tell you he's a muggle. But I'll tell you what. For a muggle, he performed some pretty good wandless magic at this event. We had so much fun casting all the spells. And you got to do a Patronus. And you got to have a wand battle, which I won. Which would make sense since I'm a witch and he is a muggle. You should hope I won. I got a couple of fun things. I got an enamel pin with my house, where all the houses, it's a Hogwarts pin. Because I like enamel pins. I have a bit of a collection. I got a couple of patches. I'm going to put these on my sweatshirt that I have. So, one for Ravenclaw, one for Hogwarts. And I got a refrigerator magnet because that's another thing that we tend to get when we go like on vacations and stuff. So that was a really fun evening, and we got a hotel, so we didn't have to come home right away. And my grandmother stayed with my kids, which was fabulous. It's rare that my husband leaves the house like that. Like I tend to gad about kind of a lot. I go visiting and stuff, but he tends to stay home. He's kind of a homebody, so I think he was really excited to get out and go do something away for a little while. It was so amazing. We had like 2 whole days where nobody complained and nobody fought and nobody bickered and nobody argued. He and I get along really well by ourselves. I was telling the kids, we walked back in the house and there's the complaining and the fighting. I thought, man, can we go back out again? No, not really. I missed my kids. It was good to see them. But it was just funny how much quieter it was, even with me talking as much as I generally do, without all the kids. But we did that. So we went to Dallas on Monday, which was my actual birthday. That's when we went to Dallas. And there was only one yarn shop on the list that he had that was open on Monday. And that shop was the McKinney Knittery. Their bags always crack me up. Some assembly required. So this is the money, what the yarn that I bought with the money that my mother-in-law gave me. I bought these 3 balls of Nua Sport, and I plan to make a Happy and You Know It hat for my husband, who can wear the one I have. Like, it's very versatile. It's about 14 inches, and I have a 20-inch head. It fits me beautifully. I wore it all weekend. My husband has a 23-inch head, and it fit him beautifully as well. So he was like, I want one. So I'm going to make him kind of a Christmassy one. We're going to do a white brim, a red hat with bronze beads that match mine, and then like a white tassel. So this I'll probably cast on, well, tomorrow is when I plan to cast it on. And hopefully get that done really quick, because this is the hat that I wanted to knit a second one of to check my pattern so it's ready for test knitting for anybody that wants to do that. But that was our first stop. That was McKinney Knittery. And then we went to the Fiberlady. Now, I have bought some Fiberlady yarn before, and it's still sitting in my queue to be done. And it will be done. But I bought a little bit more. I bought this. And I have plans for this, but we'll talk about my plans for this later. It's called BaaBoo. It's a bamboo and alpaca and merino wool blend. So this, you'll see this again later. Not today, but in a month or so. And then I bought this, BaaBoo. This is a wool and bamboo blend. No alpaca in this one. But I bought this because I saw a poncho at McKinney Knittery that I thought, ooh, I'd like to knit that. But I didn't buy yarn for it at McKinney Knittery, but I was kind of thinking about it as I was shopping. So this is going to go with some other things I bought elsewhere. And then while I was there, I met David, who is the man who spins the yarn. He has these big machines that spin the bamboo yarn, and he has plying machines and all this kind of stuff. And he took us in the back and let us look at one of the pliers while it was working. So I have a video of that I'm going to put in for you right here. There we go. Should I squeeze by you a little bit?
The whole spindle moves up and down as opposed to the whole carrot, but the carrot is not the spindle, yeah. And then I can, on the fly, change how fast these cans are rotating versus the other side. And that controls your twist? So the distance, the time it takes for the yarn to get from here to here is how much twist I can put in the yarn. Okay. So if I want a lot of twist, I actually slow that down. There you go. Caught it in time this time. Yeah. To put more twist in it, you slow this down. So it stays in the zone. Like 2-ply. Yeah. It's like watching paint dry. I'll put 2 pounds of yarn on one of these bobbins in an hour and a half, less than an hour and a half. If it's 2-ply, it's 6 hours.
And that was so cool. And he and I got to talking about machinery and the ways that we knit different things. And he and I started talking about my sock machine. So Fiberlady has BouncyBook, which is a sock yarn. And he gave me this just to use on my sock machine. So I plan to do a whole video showing how this sock yarn works on my machine. So we'll see how that goes. I have never knit, it's 87% bamboo rayon and 13% Sorona. I've never knit anything even remotely like this on my sock machine. So it will be fun to see how that goes. I tried knitting some socks out of 100% alpaca not too long ago for my friend Tracy's boyfriend Mark, who works in the shop with her, and that did not go well. The socks did not come out right. They were very stiff and almost like you could like stand them up, and then the dark yarn got knotted and tangled, and it was a bad day. The yarn died. I buried it. I don't even know what I did with it. I couldn't get it untangled. It made a sock that wouldn't even fit me. It was a hot mess. It didn't even make a sock. It made a toe that wouldn't even fit me, because when I got to the heel, I dropped so many stitches and I couldn't pick them back up because it was so tight and so dark. It was just a mess. Like when I tried to unravel it, it wouldn't even unravel. Anyway, I want to talk about that sock. That was a bad sock. So I've had some yarns that don't work. So far, that's the only yarn I've had that really did not work. And my best guess is that the alpaca just doesn't have, it has a lot of drape, but it doesn't have a lot of bounce or stretch, and it didn't have any nylon or anything in it to give it any bounce or stretch or memory to return. And I think it just got tighter and tighter the more I tried to knit with it, and I couldn't get it to loosen back up. But anyway, I'm going to try out the BouncyBoo. So be watching for a CSM video on that. I'm hoping to get that out. Well, I'm hoping to get it filmed on Sunday. If I don't get it done this weekend, it may have to wait till next weekend. But we'll see. I got a lot going on. It's Christmas. Everybody's got a lot going on. But we'll see. But that is the plan for that. So that was stop number 1 on Tuesday as we were leaving town. Stop number 3. Now, Fiberlady I'd heard of. I'd seen them at festivals, although I'd never been to their store. McKinney Knittery I've heard of. I've been there lots. In fact, McKinney Knittery is just sort of like, it's like an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes from where I live, and that's kind of where we go when we need yarn, and we don't want to order it online. We go there. That's the closest thing there is. But this shop was one I had never heard of before. It was called On the Lamb, and it was in Grapevine. And I'm thinking, there's a knit shop in Grapevine. I drive through Grapevine like several times a month. If I've gotten to Dallas, to my in-laws, or anything out there, I drive through Grapevine. I can't believe I didn't know that was there. But I think they said they've been there for about 4 years, so I felt kind of dumb. Like, how did I not know that? But anyway, there I found 5 skeins of this lovely DK. It's a Cascade yarn called Eco Hemp. I've never knit with it. It's a DK weight. But it is going to be the main color to go with that poncho I told you about that McKinney Knittery had a sample of. So the Canyon River poncho, this is what I'm planning to knit with it. And the main color will be this, and I'm going to do the version with 3 contrast colors. So one of those 3 colors is going to be this BaaBoo. 2 of the colors are going to be actually just some things out of my stash. So look at me, stash busting over here. This is, I used it to make a custom fit sweater. I can't remember the name. Morio, M-O-R-I. I'll put the name of it, L-L-A. I used it to knit a cardigan anyway. And I had 2 balls left over, and I was going to knit a hat with it, but I'm actually really happy with my Happy and You Know It hat, and I think that will be the hat that I just arbitrarily says go with that cardigan, so I don't think I'm going to knit a hat out of this. But instead, I think I'm going to use it with this, and this was bought, so this cardigan was originally a colorwork sweater that was going to have this as the colorwork. Yeah, that didn't happen. So I had this because I never made the colorwork part. But look at those. I thought, ooh, I have those 2 at home with this blue, and then the gray will be the base of the main color. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see if we can get all 4. There, something like that. I think that's going to be pretty good. So that is a project. Took 2 shops and 3 shops really, because I got the idea from McKinney Knittery. So 3 shops and a little bit of stash diving. And that's what I'm going to do with that. Whew. So that was from On the Lamb. It was a really pleasant shop. It was a large shop. She had a really nice selection of hand-dyed as well as more commercial yarns. It was very airy. I enjoyed being there. Let's see. So what did we do after that? After that, we went to shop number 4, which was Lone Star Yarns in Bedford. Okay. She had lots of fun little stitch markers, lots of things that people made locally and were selling, like hand knit or hand crocheted items for sale or hand sewn items for sale. So that was really fun. So I was going to get, and did get, a couple sets of stitch markers. I'll show you as soon as I remember where I put it. It was hiding in another bag. Anyway, let's talk about this here. So some things I can't show you because I bought the cutest thing that I'm going to be giving as a Christmas present to somebody that might see this video. So there's one thing I bought there that's really wonderful, but you can't see it right now. But I'll show you what I bought that you can. And one of those things, because it was a Harry Potter weekend, when I saw these adorable Harry Potter stitch markers, I had to have them. So yeah, it's got Hogwarts and a broom and a lightning bolt and the Deathly Hallows. And oh, platform 9 3/4, which is my favorite. So yeah, super loved that. Oh, obviously I had to have that. So I picked that out like almost immediately. I was like, oh, we're taking that home. Okay, I was talking about these, right? So I had picked these out and I set those aside, and I picked out a couple of things to make a gift for a friend, and I was kind of done. And my husband was walking around with all this yarn in his hands, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I like these. I said, yes, that's very lovely. He's like, these are very pretty. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't, you know, it's yarn and it's lovely. Like, what's your point? And he's like, you should make me something from these. And he's like holding these up. And I was like, all right, if you want to buy this yarn, great. But it's not coming out of my birthday budget, because I'm not spending my birthday budget to make stuff for you that I don't want to make. So he said, okay, and bought it himself anyways. So he picked out this Susuro by Malabrigo. And the color is Fire Agate, and it is like a silk. What is this made out of? Let's see, mulberry silk, merino wool, and linen. And I mean, the man's got good taste. I mean, of course he married me, so there's that. But he picked out both of these. They are going to be gorgeous. I'm thinking of making him some kind of a cowl with one or both of these, or possibly a scarf. Since it is such lovely, I was like, ooh, maybe I will knit this for you, because, I mean, you can't feel it, but just feel it. You'll want to knit with it. So he wound up with these, and then he brought over these. I was like, what are you wanting me to do with that? He's like, I don't know, I just like it. So I said, look, are you planning to learn to knit? Because you know how many unfinished projects I have lying around my house. And he was like, no, you need to knit it for me. And then like half an hour later, he's like, well, maybe I'll learn to knit. So tentatively, if he decides to learn to knit, we're thinking of having him knit a hat for himself out of this. So that's a lot of ifs. I don't know if he's going to sit down and learn to knit or not, or how that will go if he does. Like, I'm sure he's capable of knitting. He's perfectly able. Most people that I've met are perfectly able in terms of learning to knit. It's not ability so much as motivation that I find tends to prevent knitters from completing stuff. Sorry about that. My battery died. Where were we? We were talking about how Mr. Duckpotato is going to have to learn to knit his own hat, because he keeps buying yarn for me to knit, and I buy enough yarn for me to knit without any help. So there's that. And then the lady at Lone Star Yarns that was helping us, she is the owner of the shop, and I cannot for the life of me remember her name, so I'm really sorry. But she was so sweet and so friendly, and when she found out that the day before had been my birthday, she gave me the cutest little set of stitch markers for my birthday. So one is a cupcake, and one says happy birthday, and one is a little pink jewel, and then two of them were Christmas themed, which I realized I don't have. I have few, if any, Christmas themed stitch markers. So a couple of Christmas themed ones. And then she gave me one that matches the shop, which I really love. So that was really nice of her. Oh, and a magnifying glass, which I guess is because I'm getting old. Or maybe it's probably helpful too. I probably need it. But yeah, that was so kind of her. And she gave me those for my birthday. And that was at Lone Star Yarns. Let's see. And if that wasn't enough, we hit up one more yarn shop before we made our way home. And that was Knit Dallas. Now, I do know that Knit Dallas has only been there for about a year, which made me feel better, because I thought, how did I not know about all these shops? Like, I lived in Dallas for a long time. But it's a fairly new shop. And, oh my goodness, that was another really fun one. Knit Dallas had a whole lot of books, pattern books and different kinds of things that were really fun to look through. And they have their own whole color scheme. And it's pink and orange. I was in heaven. Pink and orange. You know, I loved it. So the first thing they have when you walk in is they have all of these bags hanging up. And you know, I came home with one in every size. So I got the orange and pink in the big and the medium. And then I got the pink and orange in the small. I love these. They are so much fun. They snap. They're see-through so you can find your stuff. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. I've been waiting to show you. We've been home from this trip for a couple of days, and I'm in a hurry to put projects in these bags. Look at this, they're big. This is the medium. It's a great size. It has a big, wide, flat bottom. It has a handle. These are Della Q bags. That is the company that makes them. But the orange and pink are special for Knit Dallas. And they have their little special tag. See if you can see it there. It says, Knit Dallas, a community yarn store. I don't know if you could see that or not, but hopefully you could. But yeah, was super excited. And then right next to these awesome pink and orange bags that obviously I couldn't resist, they had pink and orange yarn. But I had to resist because at this point it was either yarn or bags, not both. Because, you know, even though it was my birthday and I was being spoiled rotten, we do have some boundaries. Or at least I thought we did. So I was back and forth. Do I want the bags? Do I want the yarn? Do I want the bags? Do I want the yarn? And I finally decided I want the bags. I really like the bags. So I bought the bags. And as I was checking out with the bags, my husband he bought the yarn. So this is Neighborhood Fiber Company, rustic fingering weight, and the colorway is East Dallas. It is the custom colorway for the shop Knit Dallas. And I got 2 skeins of it, and they gave me a little stitch marker with their logo too. Let's see if I can get it. I think On the Lamb did also, actually. So yeah, so I got that, and I went ahead and got the, I believe it is a Carissa Browning pattern. I'll put it on the screen to know for sure, but I think I went ahead and got the pattern to make the sample that they had in the shop, which is called the Jiggle. Isn't that great? It's a pink and orange shawl called the Jiggle. I'm in heaven. I don't know how we could have had any more fun. I can't imagine a better way to spend my birthday and the day after my birthday. I have never in my life come home with so much yarn. I don't even think I come home from yarn festivals with this much yarn usually. Maybe the Arkansas Yarn Crawl. I might have had pretty close to this much because I guess Tracy thought it was my birthday. Tracy helped me come home with a lot of yarn from that trip. But yeah, it was so much fun. It was amazing. And I'll put some pictures of the different yarn shops. I probably will have already done that by the time you are hearing these words at the end of this video. But you know, it isn't fair that I have all of the yarn. You guys should get some yarn too. So last month in November, I was going to give away these 4 skeins of Sparkle cotton and rayon yarn. Great option for those of us who like to knit in the South. Not quite as warm and toasty as wool. There are 200 yards per hank, and I have 4 of them. So it's 800 yards. And it is from the Spectrum collection. And as my husband pointed out, it's pink and orange. But what can I say? A good color combination is a good color combination. So it is time to pick a winner for that. Okay, I've got it ready. We can do the drawing. And if I did it right, I'll be able to put a picture of the screen as I'm doing the drawing somewhere up here. Last time I did the drawing and was all excited and then realized that I didn't actually record it. So you didn't get to see it. But this time I have it recorded. So put in the video URL for episode 18 and see who the lucky duck will be. All right, here we go. Pick a winner. There's 15 total comments, and the winner is EV01950. She says, I'm disappointed I won't get to see you when I'm in Hot Springs. She'll already be in Florida for Thanksgiving, but my birthday plans sound great. Inbuilt and I have birthdays a few days apart in October and traditionally have taken a camping trip for a few weeks. The last few years that hasn't happened, so I was thrilled to go camping for a week for our birthdays this year. We marked another beautiful Arkansas state park off our list. Your schlanket is gorgeous. That's my big green shawl, the Enchanted Forest. Love the pink one too. Nice whips. Well, thank you. Actually, Evie did get to see me in Arkansas because I saw her Friday, the first day I was there. So congratulations, Evie, on being the winner. If you will, email me at the channel email that is in the description box below and let me know your information. I will get your prize out to you. And if you're lucky, you might get it before Christmas. So that takes care of the episode 18 Lucky Duck. And of course, I need to have a lucky duck for this episode, episode 19. So I have something really, really fun to give away in this episode. Oh, I was informed I'm not supposed to use the G word. I have a really fun thing to share this month with you guys. For starters, MrsDuckpotatoe has made a set of knitting needle bracelets to go with the prize for episode 19. And Hot Springs Fiber Company has donated some stitch markers. These are super cute ones. There's a motorcycle and a cherry, and I don't know if this is a watermelon or a lime wedge, some kind of fruit. And then I've got this beautiful bag with yarn in it. And this yarn is really, really fun. So this was one of the yarns I got from the Arkansas Yarn Crawl. This is the August Arkansas Yarn Trail yarn by Misty of Rich Mountain Fiber Company. So Rich Mountain Fiber Company has a monthly subscription. Whoop, let's get it right side up for you. They have a monthly subscription box, and you can sign up and get $5 off of the monthly colorway when you sign up, and you get yarn every month. And this was the one from August. So I'm not giving away a subscription. I'm just giving away this one ball. It's fingering weight, 85% extra fine superwash merino and 15% nylon. So a good fingering weight sock yarn. The colorway is the August, that's what it's called, August Arkansas Yarn Trail. That's the name of this colorway. And I don't know if the subscription box does the same, like if they name it that same kind of thing every time, like if it's, September Arkansas Yarn Trail, October Arkansas Yarn Trail. I'm not really sure. I didn't ask. But yeah, that is what I have to give away. No, I said the G word again. That's what I have to share. I'm gonna try really hard to say that I'm sharing. This is what I have to share with you guys, my viewers, who have hung out with me for this long. And the bracelets that were made by MrsDuckpotatoe. So if you would like to share this yarn, give this homeless yarn a new home, then you will need to please comment below. Do you want to step in and
Sure.
MrsDuckpotatoe's watching me do this.
Sorry guys, if you want to learn how to make these, you got to have some muscles, and you can go check out my video on her channel.
He's very proud of himself. So yes, you can go check that out there. But this is going to be for the lucky duck for next time. Oh, I need to tell you what to say. You need to comment below. I don't really care what you say. You can say hi. You can say hello. You can say Arkansas. You can say Texas. I don't know. Comment with the state where you live in or the country. That would be fun to hear where everybody's from. So yeah, comment below and tell me, not your address, but generally where you're from. You from the U.S., you from another country, you from a specific state. Let us know where you're from. It'll be fun to see where people are watching from. So that is sharing for this month. I've got one more thing. I know I got a couple of people who mentioned to me they missed the shawl parade float last month. I didn't have a shawl parade float, but I have float number 6 for this month. Let's see. I have 2 shawls, 2 old shawls to show you. Oldies but goodies. And this one won Best in Show at the East Texas State Fair a couple of years ago for the knitting division. This, I call it my Rowena shawl, but the pattern is Emiliana by Lisa Hands. I'm not sure if it's Hands or Haynes. I'll put the information up here. And it was dyed, this is Brew City Yarns in their Impish DK. You cannot get Brew City Yarns because unfortunately the very talented dyer behind this has passed away. So this shawl is very precious to me because it is truly not replaceable. But these colorways are Rowena's Diadem and Luna's Spectre Specs. And this was a kit that I bought many years ago. My mother and I bought them when we were at a yarn shop in San Antonio. We are both Ravenclaws, and we both bought a kit, and it came with our Hogwarts letter and a wax seal, and you broke your seal and got to pick your house and knit your house colors. All the different kits had the house colors. So that is my Rowena. I love this shawl. It is so squishy. Super, super squishy. And me being crazy, I made it way too long. I just kept going. I was having so much fun knitting, the ends of it just sort of go on forever. I should have stopped a little sooner, but that's okay. It makes for a very nice, big, warm thing to wrap up in. It's a really good church shawl if I'm cold in church. And then the other shawl I'm going to show on the shawl parade, I knit this maybe back in 2019. I knit it for an anniversary, for our anniversary. This is another one I bought at a fiber festival with my mom. This is the Mississippi Blues pattern. I call it Sunset Over the Mississippi because I chose these pretty kind of tan and sun color. And I've had this shawl for years and I love it. I wear it all the time. And I had these really big plastic kind of brown buttons that kind of matched this color here. They weren't very pretty. And so one of the things that I looked for specifically when I was in Arkansas at Hot Springs Fiber Company was new buttons. And I bought new buttons. I'm really happy with these big brass buttons that I found. Hot Springs Fiber Company has a button bar. It's like a huge table with glasses just full of all kinds of buttons. Everything from like the brass buttons I bought for this shawl and the ribbon weave I showed you earlier to like holiday Christmassy ones that are kind of wooden painted ones. There's shell, there's plastic, there's rhinestone, there's everything, all sizes, all the buttons. I've never seen so many buttons in my life. It actually was kind of overwhelming trying to pick buttons for this shawl, but I managed. And here it is. Kind of an old shawl that's been kind of revamped with brand new buttons. And I think that is everything I have to tell you about tonight. I'm going to get this uploaded. It should be coming out on December 1st, so happy December. I hope you are celebrating the holidays in whatever way you enjoy the most. I'm going to close this in prayer, and I will see you next month. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for the many, many blessings that you have showered on me in the last month. Thank you for the opportunities, for my happy birthday times, for my family rallying around me and making me feel so very special. And I thank you for the Advent season that's coming up, Lord, as we get ready to remember the welcoming of you when you came to earth as a human, Lord, so that you could take on our sin and save us from it. Thank you so much for the ways in which you are our Heavenly Father and the ways in which that you provide for us. And in your name we pray. Amen.